It turns out if the advice you're following is commit crime, yeah, that's a crime.
A few moments later.
My name is Kat Abughazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois, and the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center.
Well, today is a good day, and this is certainly massive cause for celebration because we just witnessed the federal government hand down several high-profile criminal indictments against the anti-ICE agitators that you've seen at these riots nationwide. I'm sure a lot of people have watched these videos thus far and thought to themselves, why are these people not getting arrested? Well, here you go, right? Now those indictments are coming down. Now you are seeing criminal charges in federal court. That's important not just because we need to obviously hold the criminals accountable, but secondly because it greatly undermines all of these narratives that you hear about peaceful protesting and ICE agents went after people. They deployed tear gas just for practicing their free speech rights when you can indeed prove in criminal federal court that these so-called ICE peaceful protesters were actually breaking the law, although I'm not sure Democrats will care too much about that. Nonetheless, in today's video, I want to bring you some of those updates as we have the congressional candidate in Illinois who repeatedly causes problems and yes, breaks the law and then claims it's free speech outside of the Broadview, Chicago area ICE facility, now just received a federal indictment. I gotta say, maybe the funniest thing I have witnessed all week. And even secondly, on an even more serious matter, we also have, if anyone remembers, that ICE raid that took place on the marijuana farm in California, where a bunch of crazy terrorists showed up to the weed farm and tried to literally murder ICE agents. Well, they are now facing federal conspiracy charges. That is right. Gavin Newsom will not be allowed to free this person on no cash bail because they're bringing federal charges. And by the way, that's also so important, right? You cannot trust these blue states to, I don't know, put him with a misdemeanor. Oh, that's slightly disorderly conduct. No, absolutely not. So we'll tell you about that and much more, even some updates right now on the border chief and what the courts are trying to force him to do. But this is already backfiring on the woke judge who is trying to say you're deploying tear gas against peaceful protesters. But again, it's literally not peaceful. And I'm glad this is going to court. I want everyone to see the proof of what we've been covering for the past several months now because the national media is just pretending like none of this is happening. It's not real. Portland is peaceful. Chicago is peaceful, etc., etc. Well, let's take that to court now. Now let's litigate that. So we'll tell you about it, guys. First, though, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is not only the best way to support our work, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And that's it. I want to start by talking about Kat Abughazaleh, if I'm saying that name correctly. She may look familiar to some of you because we've actually spoken about her on the channel before, but this is the very far left progressive Illinois congressional candidate who's basically trying to make a name for herself by clout chasing constantly outside of the ICE facility. This is the very person who claims she got body slammed by ICE and then said ICE tried to run her over when the videos clearly tell a different tale. So I want to show you again why I'm so satisfied by this. Some examples of what we've been talking about. So, here is the video where she claims she got body slammed, federal agents abused me and all this. And we'll watch exactly what she posted for herself. And I think you can clearly tell that's not really what happened.
ICE! Shame on you! Put him down! Don't touch me! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame.
So just for any confusion here, Kat, this congressional candidate, is the one in the blonde right here, if you notice, with a pink sign. Okay, so you can clearly tell. She's sitting in the road, first of all. So what do the violent ICE agents, right, impeding our First Amendment right do? They try to pick her up and move her out where she's like blocking things. That's my First Amendment right to block the road. Not how it works. Okay.
Shame on you! Put him down! Don't touch me! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Right Right, so now she's like shoving with them and all this stuff.
Why do you want to?
And then here is that video of her supposedly getting quote unquote body slammed. Okay, let's take a look at this. And then, of course, how does she frame it, right? This is what it looks like, and I quote, when ICE violates our First Amendment rights. Now, keep in mind, I'm showing you the videos she posted, okay? So this is not even us digging up for more context. No, according to her, this is clearly what that looks like. So let's recap that. She was sitting in the road blocking the entrance to the facility. The agents asked her to move. She didn't move. They picked her up and moved her. Then she immediately runs back in the face of the agents, starts trying to shove them back, saying, no, I have a freaking right to... They literally moved you like 5 feet. She starts shoving with them, right? And then she tries to go back to sitting down again, and then they pick her up and move her again like the absolute child. And yes, that's what she is, like the child that she is, right? It's like dealing with a toddler or something. No way, I want to watch TV. And then, of course, running around clout chasing, now playing the victim. And everyone's like, oh, they violated the First Amendment. Where's the violation of First Amendment? As a matter of fact, she should be the one, obviously, and I said this at the time, who should be arrested because, first of all, she was blocking the road. She was not complying with the commands of law enforcement. They tried to move her, and then she starts shoving with them and then says, that's my First Amendment right. But as usual, much like you saw during 2020 and Black Lives Matter, this is what the Democrat Party believes is free speech, right? So criticizing immigration, for instance, or immigration policy, that's not free speech. That's hateful. Hate speech should be banned. But simultaneously, right, the right to obstruct law enforcement, shove police officers, throw Molotov cocktails, assassinate the political leaders that you disagree with, according to the left wing, right? These things are all actually protected by the First Amendment. But guys, it only starts there, right? This like ridiculous show. And by the way, one thing I like to point out about this, having watched back the video a couple weeks later now, am I the only one who seems to feel like this whole thing was staged? Like they didn't actually throw her, okay? Because notice something. So the ICE agent has like a gun, or maybe that's a tear gas gun or something, but whatever it is, right? Rubber bullets. In one hand, he's only carrying this little lady with one hand, right? And then you notice kind of the moment that she goes to the ground, does it not kind of, I mean, it's hard to tell, right? But it kind of seems like she jumped, does it not, right? She intentionally tried to like stage the fall. And by the way, you kind of research who this person is. Everything she does is staged, right? Democrats basically picked her out of like central casting to be this political candidate. And it's kind of obvious. I mean, just look at her whole setup. Yeah, whole thing is completely weird. But that said, okay, I want to show you what, if I'm not mistaken, Kat really did get indicted for, which was the second time around, where she, about this too, said that ICE agents tried to run her over, okay? Yet when you watch the video, you notice that's just not what happened. So let's take a look at this as well. And we actually covered this incident the weekend it happened. But again, what did she try to say about this? She said, ICE agents tried to run us over while we were using a crosswalk. That's actually what she said. Okay, first and foremost, it's very obvious you guys are blocking the road. Do you know what a crosswalk is for? It's for walking. It is not for standing. You cannot just stand in a crosswalk and block it. Secondly, you guys are literally pushing and banging on the ICE vehicle. The ICE vehicle is literally going like 5 miles an hour just trying to get you guys to get out of the way. And again, they claimed here, while they're actually breaking the law, right? While they're obstructing and blocking a vehicle and also like banging on the windows and stuff belonging to law enforcement, right? That's what they claimed. We were peaceful protesters following the law, and ICE tried to run us over, which clearly you were not doing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in her infinite wisdom, after claiming that both of these incidents are free speech, which they are clearly not, guess what is happening now, ladies and gentlemen? Everybody clap it up to the Department of Justice, okay? Sometimes they're a little slow, but in this case, they did something. According to Kat Abughazaleh, the peaceful protester herself, right? She's saying now, I have been charged in a federal indictment sought by the Department of Justice. This is political prosecution. Political prosecution, guys, is an attack on all of our First Amendment rights. Which First Amendment rights? The First Amendment rights to block the road, which you did both times, by the way, or the First Amendment rights to try to push or shove police officers or their vehicles. Okay, but that's it. Let's take a listen here as this lady announces what's apparently now happening to her.
My name is Kat Abughazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois, and the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview processing center.
First Amendment rights, guys. We saw on camera of what she posted, right? That totally looks like First Amendment rights. That's how it works, right? You have a First Amendment right to attack people, apparently.
This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration.
Again, their First Amendment right to attack people, yeah.
To criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them. That's why I'm going to fight these unjust charges, but I need your help to do it. As I and others have exercised our First Amendment rights, ICE has hit, dragged, thrown, shot with pepper balls, and tear gassed hundreds of protesters, simply because we had the gall to say that masked men coming into our communities, abducting our neighbors, and terrorizing us cannot be our new normal. And because
yeah, that's the only reason why, right? It was only because they're protesting against you. How insanely dishonest are these people going to be? Now, what I find hilarious about it, I've talked about this before, but for decades now, this is nothing new. Even a lot of the protest movements in the 60s that you were taught in school were peaceful, really were not, is that they always do the strategy of like agitation. And then when law enforcement starts tear gassing, and again, leftists have always done this, then they say, look, they're tear gassing peaceful protesters. And you see that a lot in the ICE situation, right? They'll literally go push, shove, refuse to disperse, start throwing things, ICE tear gases. Then they're like, look, they're tear gassing the protesters. But the problem with it, especially in 2025, as compared to the 1960s when everyone has a smartphone, is that people can literally see what happened. Even in the videos that you have posted, Kat, everyone can see what you were doing. And you were not engaged in your First Amendment right or so-called peaceful protest, right? And then she's going to sit here and claim, oh, that's our First Amendment. It's just so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. By her logic, let me say this right now. By her logic, everything done on January 6th was a peaceful protest. That, again, according to her, right? Oh, they shove police officers? You shove police officers. They assaulted police officers? Oh, people at your protests have assaulted police officers. Oh, let's get this straight too. What were most of them actually charged with? Trespassing, right? They were not supposed to be in the Capitol, even though some police officers opened the door. But okay, trespassing. Oh, you mean to tell me you cannot enter unauthorized on a federal facility? Well, according to you now, that's the First Amendment right? You can do whatever you want. It's the federal government. So how was January 6th, again, according to their logic, how is anything that happened on January 6th not protected by free speech? Please answer me that, Democrats. Because, everything you're now describing is these people were charged with, hundreds of people. Now, you're sitting here crying the victim because it's happening to you. I don't know. So, maybe I should start saying that. I should just start, everyone brings up January 6th. I'm just going to say, hey, that's the First Amendment. That's what you told me, right? That you told me First Amendment protects the right to disobey law enforcement and in many cases commit violence. So there you go.
Because Chicago doesn't back down from bullies in masks who tear gas our neighborhoods, this administration has resorted to weaponizing the federal justice system to scare us into silence. But we're not going to be silent. The Trump administration wants you to be afraid of speaking out against it and its anti-democratic power grabs. And there are plenty of reasons to be afraid right now, but we have to overcome that fear. This case targets our rights to protest, speak freely, and associate with anyone who disagrees with the government. And while we have seen the unhinged and unlawful tactics this administration has used against the American public.
Oh, unhinged and unlawful, you say. I wonder where they might have gotten that idea.
It's important to remember they're doing this because they are scared. They are wrong. And they know they are on the wrong side of history. We cannot diminish ourselves in the face of these attacks. That's why we have to unite and stand up for humanity, our rights, and everyone terrorized by Trump's lawless secret police. You'll be hearing regular updates directly from me about this case and how we can use our constitutional rights to resist authoritarianism. And as scary as all of this is, I have spent my career fighting America's backslide into fascism. I'm not going to stop now. And I hope.
Just for the record, like 4 years ago, she was working as basically a bottle girl in a bar, according to like what I understand. Again, they basically the socialists kind of picked this woman out of central casting because she's good looking, essentially, to be this completely fake, like, actor, basically, candidate, which is exactly what she is, by the way. You know, there's a reason we always bring up the theater kid thing, because that's exactly what this is. You know, she's LARPing as some type of like MLK civil rights style figure, when again, in reality, we see everything that she's doing, right? Just shows up there, films herself. Hey, oh, look, I'm a part of the fight, guys. Please vote for me for Congress. And then, you know, yeah, it always goes this way. So essentially, there you have it on the front of this cat lady. Again, I've never been so satisfied, because anyone who's familiar knows how insanely obnoxious this person is. But secondly, on perhaps even a more serious matter, over in California, we just got the announcement of the ICE raid back, you might remember, on the marijuana farm a couple months ago. Well, basically, it's kind of ironic, isn't it? It turns out Cheech and Chong were not so happy, because you might have remembered they were sitting here, they came out, they threw rocks. I'm pretty sure one person even tried to pull out a gun, if I'm remembering this exact case correctly, and all of that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, all of these suspects are facing years in federal prison after, obviously, the state of California has done absolutely nothing, but now being charged with conspiracy. So take a listen. This is the same exact day. It seems like a lot of this stuff is being handed down at the same time. And you certainly love to hear these developments, although I would say terrorism charges should also be brought in here. But hey, I don't know, whatever keeps them in jail for a very long time. Take a listen.
Protesters, including members of an organization named VC Defensa, came to the site of the search warrants. VC Defensa is an organization that operates and manages what they call a rapid response network designed to impede federal agents and their enforcement operations. And that warrant is what you see on the camera there at the marijuana farm, where the agents were attempting to leave. In one of the criminal complaints today, we are charging 2 members of VC Defensa for conspiring to impede and injure federal law enforcement officers. These 2 VC Defensa members went to the protests on July 10th in Ventura County and acted with others to assault enforcement vehicles and officers. One of the members charged in the complaint used her vehicle to block U.S. government vehicles from leaving the location, while another member and others ambushed the vehicles by throwing rocks at them, and those images went viral. Several government vehicles were damaged, and a federal contract employee was injured as a rock went through her vehicle window, shattering the glass and striking her. And you're going to hear more about that case here shortly. Separately, in another incident that you also see on the TV here, on June 8th in downtown Los Angeles Civic Center, a group of agitators used the protests as an excuse to throw rocks, bottles, and other objects at officers, injuring several of them. Government and private property were vandalized. Los Angeles police declared an unlawful assembly, yet the violence continued. 9 of the defendants charged in that second criminal complaint were filmed on cell phones by local news and other media, throwing rocks, bottles, and objects, including objects on fire from an overpass on Main and Los Angeles Street here in downtown LA, onto the CHP officers and their vehicles. 2 defendants charged in today's complaint were recorded lighting debris on fire and throwing it at CHP vehicles, pouring what appeared to be flammable liquid, which increased the size of the flames. The officers and vehicles were on the freeway after removing demonstrators who had marched onto the freeway to block traffic lanes. During the mayhem, one CHP vehicle was set ablaze. Officers were trapped while an angry mob threw debris at them from above.
Boom. Well, there you go. It turns out it is not your First Amendment right to throw rocks at people, but I'd like to further point out, so you're learning now about another left-wing domestic terror organization, right? There is the Central Antifa, right? Strike Antifa, Rose City Antifa, Antifa International, Torch Antifa, a lot of those networks. But it's worth noting that when we talk about this left-wing domestic terror crackdown, while Antifa is the broad label, you come to find out there's many different specifics, right? Redneck Revolt, John Brown Gun Club, or others we've brought up before, and in this case, VC Defensa. Yeah, yet another. I mean, listen to them, right? Rapid response. Anytime there's an ICE raid, basically, in at least Southern California, maybe nationwide, they show up there and they're like coordinated and they're trying to commit violence. Yeah, they're terrorists. So, frankly, I kind of question why terrorism charges are not being brought here, but either way, it looks like they're going to be in jail for a very long time, and that is certainly good news. And again, according to the left, that's peaceful protesting, right? The whole coverage around that ICE raid, if you remember, was so ridiculous back in the summer. They said, first of all, they're raiding a farm, right? How are we going to eat? These are the farm workers. It's our food, right? Even Democrat politicians were saying that. And then you find out it's a weed farm. And it's like, is that what the Democrat politicians eat all day? They just eat edibles and, pot brownies. Okay, that would explain a lot of their politics. But then secondly, how hilarious is it? So you take away the drugs from the illegal aliens, and then the illegal aliens show up and they start, committing terrorism and getting violent. I mean, yeah. Average leftists. I mean, what else can we say? Now, last update I would like to give you actually comes from the Border Patrol chief himself, Greg Bovino, because there is a woke judge essentially right now in the Chicago area trying to claim that ICE is using unnecessary force, right? They're saying, you're tear gassing people for being violent. How dare you do that? Much like Kat Abughazaleh, they're saying that, oh, that's my peaceful First Amendment right to assault you, apparently. But I want you to first take a listen to these details. You'll see kind of what actually the incident in that one neighborhood, we talked about it too, that sparked the court ruling, and then why I actually think the court ruling is a good thing, because I would like to see it in the legal court of record. Hey, the left wing is violent in the United States. Yes, put that on the books. Yes, put that in the National Archives for sure. But first, okay, take a listen to apparently those details.
It was supposed to be a Halloween parade in Old Irving Park turned to chaos.
Tear gas in Old Irving Park.
As ICE agents appeared to deploy tear gas through residential streets on Saturday, there was outrage over the arrest of a construction worker, Luis Villegas. His family says he was working on a now unfinished project before he was chased down and arrested by federal agents. Villegas' family says he's an undocumented immigrant who has lived in the Chicago area most of his life.
I'm gonna throw it right back at you.
Tensions continued to grow after Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino was photographed allegedly hauling a tear gas canister at protesters in Little Village last week. Bovino defending his actions this morning.
When we utilize force.
Yeah, first of all, I wonder what could have been going on perhaps in the videos that they even didn't show that might have triggered ICE to throw tear gas. I mean, it seems, what a unprecedented use of force. Yeah, I wonder why, because they're starting a freaking riot. They're throwing things at the ICE officers, right? I believe at this very incident, Greg Bovino himself got hit in the head with something, and then they throw the tear gas. And as I said, right, this is like the left-wing protest tactic of history. They literally cry out in pain as they strike you, do all of that, agitate, and then say, we're getting tear gas. And then you got an insurrectionist judge siding with the rioters. But
enforcement, this is in law enforcement in general. As we use force, it's the least amount of force necessary to effect an arrest or to affect the successful outcome of any given mission that we're on. So whether it's the use of tear gas or the use of hand techniques or any use of force by law enforcement, that's that least amount of force necessary to positively affect the outcome of that mission. And that's what we do here in Chicago.
He tells ABC News nearly 3,000 people have been arrested in Chicago so far since the immigration crackdown began last month. Many have criticized the legality.
Oh, I wonder, look at this scene. Yeah, I wonder why there was tear gas, guys. Okay.
On how arrests have been made, including claims that no audible warnings are given before tear gas is deployed. The Department of Homeland Security also releasing this statement saying, during the operations, Border Patrol agents were surrounded and boxed in by a group of agitators. Federal law enforcement issued multiple lawful commands and verbal warnings.
Yeah, as is always the case. So that said, I want to tell you about this court ruling. Because now a woke judge in Chicago is trying to force Gregory Bovino to, like, A, wear a body camera, and B, report to her every single night about any use of force that was employed by ICE agents. That's right, every single day. Not once a week, not once a month, every single day. And on one hand, I mean, that's just, how is he supposed to do his job? Well, that's the whole point. They don't want you to do your job. But at the same time, I'm also kind of like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, why not wear a body camera? Why not put it in the legal record so that way we have even more documented evidence, since the media constantly wants to lie about this, that these anti-ICE rioters and agitators are indeed violent, and that's exactly what Greg Bovino said as well. It's like, you think you're doing something here, you think you're about to prove yourself correct, but much like Kat Abughazaleh, right? That's actually not the case, okay? You're making a fool out of yourself because we are correct and you are violent.
Well, let me ask you about what the judge did yesterday. First of all, what is your understanding now? You have to meet with this judge daily. What does that mean to you? What will you be doing?
Harris, over 3 decades, I've had the opportunity to interact with many judges. Each judge is different. Each judge does things a different way. And this is an adapt to the situation type thing. If she wants to meet with me every day, then she's going to see, she's going to have a very good firsthand look at just how bad things really are on the streets of Chicago. I look forward to meeting with that judge to show her exactly what's happening and the extreme amount of violence perpetrated against law enforcement here.
Yeah, what she needs to see is this video of what it's like when you go in and out of that courthouse to see her every day. I mean, that's part of the story, too.
Yeah, exactly. But there you essentially have it. I guess this whole video could be summarized in saying that the left in this country is trying to go to court with us to prove that they're not violent when we've seen the videos, okay? Then prove also that they're following all the laws, which they're clearly not. It's like, yeah, I wonder how that's going to end up for you. I wonder how that's going to end up for the judge trying to see all of the body cam videos or whatever from Greg Bovino. I certainly wonder how that's going to end up for these VCA defense people who threw the rocks, or Kat Abughazaleh, who, is, I don't know, maybe your congressional campaign's not going to go so well, considering you now are stuck in federal court because you freaking broke the law. And you thought, oh, let me put my makeup on. Let me clout chase. Oh, I'm like LARPing. I'm cosplaying as this revolutionary. Everyone's going to love me. I'm like a drama theater kid. And then boom, reality check. You know what? You are bound by the laws of this country too. You're not immune because you're some social media influencer who's basically running for Congress. Isn't it funny how that works? Yeah. But with that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.